Hi everybody, Kat here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're all having a great day. Well, Harry and Meghan, it just never stops. The worse things get for them. They just double down on the lies and deceptions. After all this fallout, people starting to speak out. Spotify execs calling them grifters. People just saying they've got no talent. She's got no talent. The industry leaders are starting to back away from them. Deals are hanging in the balance. They probably won't get all the money from Netflix that they originally had, touted, I don't know, something like 150 million, but that was contingent on things being produced over a period of about 5 years. That's right, they still have 2 years left of their Netflix contract. Now, Meghan wants to do sort of a woke feminist prequel to Great Expectations. Dickens wasn't good enough. Meghan can certainly improve on that classic, and I'm sure everybody's just waiting with bated breath to see what she produces. It's going to be groundbreaking, isn't it? And if what they say is true, I mean, there's so many rumors floating around that Harry's off to Africa to produce a documentary. He's gonna save the elephants or something. Another lofty ideal. Are these things really in the works? Or is it just more talk, like the Dior deal that was imminent, that was just a figment of her imagination? This is what they do. She believes, and I think in her head she really believes it, because so far it's kind of worked. If you say something long enough, it's going to come true. If she says long enough that Dior is giving her, the face of Dior, some big sponsorship contract worth millions, that that they will, that they'll comply and they'll invite her to join the Dior family. It didn't happen. The same as, she was, going to be presenting an award at the Oscars. She was never asked. They do this all the time. So, this whole Netflix idea, they have to come up with something after all this bad press and everything else. And the fact that Spotify has walked away and they're worried Netflix might, well, it's not quite that easy because there's 2 years left on the contract. I'm sure they could get out of it somehow if they wanted to. But so that's why all the speculation has come up. Whether these projects are going to really happen is another story. Especially the documentary in Africa that Harry's proposing, that this is next for him. I mean, this also covers a bit of territory. There's been a lot of talk for a long time. I mean, some of us have believed that they have been apart for much longer than is now being said. It's being said that they're living apart. Harry's got, excuse me, a membership at a private hotel in San Francisco or somewhere a couple hours away, or Los Angeles, a couple hours away from Montecito, and he's seen there quite frequently. Meghan, apparently, if you listen to the gossip, it's been said on different YouTubes that she's going to any parties she gets invited to, and they're certainly not A-list parties because, those people don't want to have anything to do with her now. Talk about her reinstating the TIG. How far she's fallen. If she'd have played her cards right, if her and Harry had played their cards right, they'd have had a very nice life in Britain, but she was far too brutally ambitious and really insane to, and she pulled Harry into her act, and here we go, and this is why we're where we're at today. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that things are on the rocks, and that has led to a lot of talk about supposed negotiations going on with Meghan and the king and the lawyers and the palace, and numbers anywhere from $50 to $100 million, that she's insisting on to walk away, and talks of NDAs and who can say what, and apparently, Meghan wants this all to be contingent on an NDA that the palace can't bring up the bullying scandal, can't bring up anything that they might have on her, because apparently, at least the way we're hearing it, she's still got some tricks up her sleeve that she can sort of blackmail them with. We know a lot of that would probably be, fake racism claims, but we do know that she'd been caught taking pictures of, I think it was Charlotte's room when they were still at Kensington Palace, and William caught her, and so she was snooping then. And of course we know anything of any's, Harry would have told her everything. And we know what she does. She just amplifies everything and feeds it back to Harry. So the more paranoid he gets, the stronger her control gets. The two of them, with this information potentially damaging to the royal family, and she's using this to blackmail. But there's almost a tension in the air. It's like everything's coming to a head, the calm before the storm. We don't know what's going on. Harry and Meghan are pretending, in light of bad press and a failing marriage and deals going sour. They've got photographs, in the paper of them out and about and smiling and happy. Taken by a backgrid photographer that was in cahoots with her father. Like, how close is how much deception is really going on here? But even those photographs of her and Harry getting into the car and leaving together have been proven to be photoshopped. They've been flipped, so it looks like Harry's getting into the same car. He's not. He's getting into a separate vehicle. So that blows that. The most recent pictures with Harry and little I betcha it's not a real kid at a July 4th parade. I noticed something. The kid is in a long sleeve dress, knee socks, half her, her legs completely covered. She's overdressed. I looked up the weather in Montecito that day, and it was over 85 degrees. It was a hot day. She would have been dressed much lighter and probably in a sun hat if you were any kind of a parent at all. But so she was oddly dressed for that, was my first impression. After having looked at a few videos, especially I think it was Royal Griff, proved that photo had been photoshopped. Harry's face has been photoshopped in. So again, another fake photograph with some kid. Not their kid. There's no kids. And this is another thing. Everything's coming to a head. The divorce, the this, the that, the lies coming out. There's a bit of a watershed now that some industry officials are coming out and really telling how it is to work with Harry and Meghan, that more revelations may be imminent. We've been hearing for a couple of months now that there's allegations against Harry of a very, very sordid manner, that if those came out, if those women came forward, it would be very damaging not only to Harry, but to King Charles, to the monarchy as a whole, because it would have been proven that that they'd covered these things up to protect Harry's reputation. And they're very ugly allegations. So if this is part of the watershed that we're sort of awaiting, that feels like things are happening, this is not going to be good for Charles. This whole thing about the imminent divorce, and apparently they're talking in 50 million, 100 million, 80 million, all these dollar amounts are being bandied about of what it's going to take to shut Meghan up and get her out of the way. And of course, she'd need full custody of the children, because you can't hide a secret if it's got to be back and forth, and, you know. So this is the thing. They want to try to hide that. Harry and Meghan will, I don't think, stop at anything. Right now, all the bad press are getting, they're blaming it on everything from Brexit to the Queen to, you know, COVID. Nothing is possibly their fault, or the fact that they have no talent and don't work. You know, nothing's their fault. This is the story at the minute. So, you know, and what happens if a divorce, apparently, and now I would have thought that right from the beginning, MI5, the Queen's Security Services, and that they have, I mean, from things I've read and researched and watched, they have files on everybody. They would have known everything about Meghan, and it's all been suppressed. So here you go. If all of this does start coming out, especially with the divorce, there's gonna have to be some action surrounding the supposed children. You know, if she divorces, she loses her titles. You know, Prince and Princess, they should lose their titles and be taken out of the line of succession. And you know, good God, for once and for all, can we even prove that there isn't any kids? Can we stop this charade for once and for all? Some people are saying, oh, Harry, you know, he really wants to just bare his soul and tell everybody and get this over with. And sure, if you're harboring a secret like that, that's a huge lie, and you realize that you have to change your life, that may be on his mind. But think of the implications of this. Think of this. Because we're pretty sure that the royal family, Charles, Camilla, William, and Kate, know the status of the so-called children. Now, again, if this comes out and it shows that the monarchy has been hiding this information all along, that's going to look really, really bad for Charles. The fact that we know that he supported them a lot longer than we originally were told. These kind of things, no matter what happens with Harry and Meghan, no matter if the information just trickles along, or we get this big watershed that some of us are expecting, and just the poop hits the fan and everything comes out at once, no matter how this plays out, it's gonna make Charles look weak, amongst other problems that he's having, with an archbishop is far too woke for his own good. the state of the Church of England is in peril, and Charles, as head of the church, should be putting his archbishop in line, but it's hard to do when the king is a wokey himself, you know. It's going to cause him some big trouble. And here's William and Kate. And I mean, yeah, they're a little woke for my standards as well. I think there's issues with them, but given the alternative, when everything goes to hell, and Charles is, you betcha, he's going to be held accountable for everything. It's going to be William and Kate, and this is what I have said all along, and it's like, does art imitate life? King Charles III, the movie, and it's just, I find it very odd, and in a way somewhat satisfying, seeing that you can almost predict what's going to happen here. I've mentioned how William has started to make his move to solidify his power base, to step out, really almost in front of his father, you know. And then now we've heard with the statement, recollections may vary, that was an insistence upon Kate's to the palace that the phrase recollections may vary be included in the statement for it to be stronger. She's strong too. And it's her and William. And I think, you know, Harry and Meghan, yeah, the pressure on them, whether they feel it the way that we would, because we're normal. But yeah, they're in the thick of it right now, and they've got to try to figure out a way to rehabilitate their reputations. Charles is looking weaker and weaker, especially as more of this comes out, and it shows that the palace has been complicit. This is going to be really bad. I'm looking forward to the rise of William and Kate, and I think as things progress here, we're getting closer and closer to that moment that Charles will have to concede. Just my thoughts and opinions. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and leave me a comment. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.